A used outboard can be the smartest money you ever spend, or the fastest way to burn every spare dollar you own. And when your budget tops out at $5,000, you do not get the luxury of trial and error. Some motors in this price range are legendary for running year after year, and others are cheap because they are one bad weekend away from becoming lawn ornaments. Today, we are cutting straight through the guesswork and counting down the most reliable used outboard motors you can actually find for under $5,000. Engines with proven reputations, easy parts, and the kind of long-term durability you need once they are hanging off your transom. Before you hand over cash for someone else's engine, you need to know which models truly last. Is that motor you are considering on this list? Or should you walk away and hold out for something better? Number 10. Yamaha F 9.9 and Yamaha F15 4-stroke. This first group is where many powered boating stories begin. Tiny 4-stroke engines that finally get you off the oars. The Yamaha F 9.9 and the Yamaha F15 4-stroke live on 12 to 14-foot aluminum boats, small inflatables, and as kicker motors on bigger fishing rigs. They are not about speed or bragging rights. They are about quiet, dependable push that turns a rowboat into something that can actually explore a lake. These motors earn their spot on a reliability list because they live fairly easy lives and are built on simple, proven designs. Most of the time they are trolling, idling, and cruising at moderate throttle, not screaming at wide open all day. Parts are everywhere. Plenty of mechanics know them inside and out. And there are always used examples floating around because so many were sold on package boats. Better yet, even clean, late-model versions almost always land under $5,000, often well under that number. When you inspect one, listen for a smooth idle in and out of gear. Check the oil for milkiness or metal, and pull the propeller off to see if fishing line has chewed up the propeller shaft seal. A skeg with a few scratches is normal. One that looks like a shark bite tells you it has bounced off more than its fair share of rocks. These little engines are perfect if you are stepping into your first motor or adding a kicker. But once you have a couple of people, some camping gear, and maybe a dog in the bow, you will eventually wish for a bit more shove. That is exactly where the next tier starts to turn a basic tin boat into a real fishing tool. Number 9. Honda BF 24-stroke. This next engine is often the first time a small boat feels genuinely capable instead of just barely powered. The Honda BF 24-stroke tends to show up on 14 and 15-foot aluminum rigs, river skiffs, and utility boats that spend a lot of time on quiet lakes and gentle rivers. It does not scream, it does not smoke, it just pushes all day long. Honda's reputation with small 4-stroke outboards is built on "it just runs" stories, and the BF20 has plenty of them. With basic maintenance, these engines are known to rack up years of service without drama. Because they were popular on simple fishing and camp setups, there is a steady stream of older but honest examples in the used market. Many of them comfortably under that $5,000 limit. When you look at one, pay close attention to how it shifts. Forward and reverse should click in positively with no grinding. Pull the cowling and look for tidy, original wiring and minimal corrosion around bolts and brackets. A clean, orderly engine bay usually means a careful owner, and that matters more than one extra season on the hour meter. On a small lake with 1 or 2 people and some tackle, this size class can feel perfect, but add more weight, push into current, or try to cover larger water, and you will start to feel the motor working hard. That is the moment when a lot of boaters start eyeing the next engine on our list, the one that shows up at remote camps and duck marshes year after year. Number 8. Yamaha F25 4-stroke. This is the engine that many outfitters and remote camps rely on when guests are going to run the throttles like they stole them. The Yamaha F25 4-stroke commonly lives on 14 to 16-foot utility rigs, duck boats, and rental fleets that need a balance of power, fuel efficiency, and durability. If a motor can survive a camp season, it has earned its reputation. The F25 offers enough power to lift a small, loaded hull onto plane, but it is still light and compact enough for modest transoms. Yamaha's mid-size 4-stroke design has proven itself for years, and the F25 keeps showing up in places where people do not have time for breakdowns. Because so many camps and owners eventually upgrade hulls or horsepower, older F25 engines frequently appear on the used market under $5,000. often with electric start and power trim. When you inspect one, look closely at the lower unit and propeller for signs of abuse. Scraped paint, bent skegs, and hammered props are common in shallow rivers and stump fields. That does not automatically kill the deal, but it should pull the price down and push you to insist on a compression test and fresh gear case oil. A motor that has worked hard but been serviced on schedule can still be a great buy in this price range. For hunters and anglers running narrow rivers and back bays, this size often feels like the first do-everything motor yet. If your days involve heavier john boats, steeper current, or longer runs, you will eventually wish for a bit more grunt. That is where the next option steps in, especially for river runners and small work rigs. Number 7. Suzuki DF30A. This next step up is where a modest rig suddenly feels strong in current. The Suzuki DF30A is a 3-cylinder 4-stroke that has become a favorite for riverboats and utility rigs that need real low and mid-range power. On a 14 or 15-foot john boat with gear and a partner, this size class can feel like a completely different world compared to a 20 or 25 horsepower outboard. Suzuki built the DF30A with torque, efficiency, and practical working power in mind. Owners consistently praise how it pulls at the speeds people actually run, not just at the top end. It has enough muscle to fight current, haul a heavier load, and still behave nicely while trolling or idling along a shoreline, because it fills the gap between tiny portables and true family motors. Earlier generation and higher hour versions often show up priced under $5,000. When you go to inspect one, pay close attention to the power trim and tilt system if equipped. It should travel smoothly without hesitation or grinding noises. Look carefully at the lower unit for welds, cracks, or rock scars, especially if the seller mentions river use. A river motor with a few bumps is normal. A motor that has clearly taken a hard shot is something you want to catch before you pay for it, not after. For river runners and anyone who needs a compact workhorse, this class can feel just right. Ever had a small outboard that felt way stronger than the number on the cowling? Drop your story in the comments. Your experience could help someone else. And if this list has helped so far, tap like so I know to keep making these, and subscribe to catch the next breakdown. Now, when your days start looking more like family trips and multi-species fishing missions, the conversation shifts from river torque to all-around capability. That brings us straight to the next engine on the list. Number 6. Mercury 40 electronic fuel injection 4-stroke. This is where many boaters feel like they finally have a real boat. The Mercury 40 electronic fuel injection 4-stroke appears constantly on 15 and 16-foot aluminum rigs and on smaller pontoon packages. It is compact and light, yet strong enough to lift a basic family load onto plane without feeling strained. Electronic fuel injection helps it start cleanly and runs smoothly, which is especially useful with used motors that may sit between trips. Because so many builders paired this engine with entry-level boats, the used market is full of them, and many sell comfortably under $5,000. When you check one out, remove the cowling and look for corrosion, patched wiring, fuel seepage, and signs of neglect. Start it cold if you can. A healthy 40 should fire quickly and settle into a steady idle. A water test is ideal. On the right hull, it should plane a moderate load without needing full throttle all day. For families and new anglers, this size is often a perfect do-everything starting point. But as boats grow heavier and days grow longer, even a good 40 eventually feels like it is, working hard setting the stage for the next step up in mid-range power. Number 5. Yamaha F54 Stroke. This next engine is where many basic rigs suddenly feel like they moved up a size class. The Yamaha F54 Stroke lives happily on 16 and 17-foot aluminum fishing boats and light pontoons, turning a modest package into something that feels genuinely capable in real weather and with real loads. Owners value this motor for its smooth running and its durability. It is not built to win races. It is built to start, push, and idle without fuss season after season. Because the F50 shared architecture with other successful Yamaha mid-range engines, parts and service knowledge are widely available. For a buyer under $5,000, that matters just as much as the horsepower number on the cowling. When you inspect a used Afura 50, cooling system health should be high on your checklist. Ask about water pump and thermostat replacement, and do not be shy about having a compression test done. Overheating is what kills many good used motors, and catching any signs early saves a lot of pain. Look at the hull the engine is on too, if it is still mounted. A boat that has clearly been neglected often tells the story of how the motor was treated. On the water, this size class often feels like a big upgrade from a 40 horsepower engine, especially with a real-world load of people, fuel, and gear. Still, there comes a point where expanding your fishing range and running bigger lakes means asking for more authority, not just good enough. That mid-range sweet spot, where value and power intersect for a lot of aluminum rigs, is exactly where the next motor shines. Number 4, Mercury 60 electronic fuel injection 4-stroke. This is the engine that makes a lot of 17 and 18-foot boats feel like they finally grew up. The Mercury 60 electronic fuel injection 4-stroke is a favorite on aluminum deep V rigs and multi-species boats that see real waves and full live wells. It brings a noticeable jump in grunt over a 50 horsepower engine without leaping into heavy big motor territory. The combination of electronic fuel injection, wide availability, and a strong reliability record makes this motor a prime used candidate. Boat builders love it as a standard power option, which means there are many of them on the water and, in time, in the used racks. That large pool of engines helps keep prices within reach, and it is very realistic to find older but healthy 60 horsepower examples under $5,000. When you are serious about buying one, asking for an engine control module report from a dealer can be money well spent. That report can show total hours, how those hours were distributed across engine speeds, and whether the motor has logged overheating events or serious faults. Combined with a compression test and a look at the oil and gear case, you can build a very clear picture of how that engine has been treated. For many anglers who fish bigger lakes, tow light tubes, and haul plenty of gear, this is the motor that lets them stop worrying about whether they have enough power. But some boats are heavier, some pontoons taller, and some families larger. When your rig fits that description, you may want a little extra punch without jumping straight into 100+ horsepower insurance and fuel bills. That is where a special lightweight overachiever comes in next. Number 3, Yamaha F70 4-stroke. This engine is easy to overlook until you ride in a boat powered by one. The Yamaha F70 4-stroke is a lightweight 40 class block tuned to produce 70 horsepower, and it has become a quiet favorite on 17 and 18-foot aluminum rigs where transom weight is a big deal. Less mass hanging off the back can mean better trim, quicker planing, and a more balanced ride. Owners of this motor often talk about how it feels stronger than the number suggests, especially on lighter hulls. It delivers a clear bump over a 60 horsepower engine while avoiding the extra weight and cost of many 90s class motors. Because it is a relatively modern design and has been popular with anglers, there are increasingly more used examples showing up, with earlier and higher hour engines slipping into the under $5,000 bracket. When inspecting an F70, corrosion is the key word, especially if it has seen saltwater. Remove the cowling and look closely at exhaust areas, mounting brackets, and fasteners for peeling paint and white crusty buildup. Ask where the motor was run and how it was flushed. A freshwater boat that lived on an inland lake has a very different life than a rig that sat on a salty dock all year. For the right boat, this motor can feel like cheating. Plenty of punch in a small, efficient package. Yet, as rigs get wider and hulls get heavier, and as your days start including rougher conditions or more towing duty, the step up to a true 90s class 4-stroke starts to make sense. That is where the next all-time repower favorite enters the picture. Number 2, Yamaha F90 4-stroke. This is the point on the ladder where many owners feel like they finally have a real big lake motor without blowing their budget. The Yamaha F90 4-stroke shows up on deep V aluminum fishing boats, smaller fiberglass rigs, and plenty of family pontoons. It is the kind of engine that can fish inland seas one day and pull a tube the next. The F90 carries a strong reputation as a reliable, straightforward inline 4-cylinder 4-stroke. With proper maintenance, these motors routinely rack up long service lives, because so many boaters choose 90 horsepower as a repower target. Earlier generation F90 engines routinely appear on the used market at prices that can fall under $5,000, especially when they have a few seasons of honest use. When you are ready to buy, a compression test across all cylinders is almost non-negotiable. Numbers that are even and within specification tell you the core of the engine is healthy. Combine that with proof of regular oil changes, gear case service, and cooling system maintenance, and you have a strong candidate. Do not be afraid of moderate hours if the paperwork shows consistent care. A low-hour motor with no service history can be a much bigger gamble. For heavier 16 to 18-foot rigs, this size is often the sweet spot, offering authority and chop, and enough reserve to get home when the forecast lies. But if your boat lives in that 18 to 19-foot range, carries a full crew, and splits duties between fishing and family fun, there is one more used market hero that stands above the rest when you are shopping under $5,000. Number 1. Mercury 115 4-stroke. This final engine is the one you will see over and over again in marinas full of 18 and 19-foot boats. The Mercury 115 4-stroke has become a package favorite on aluminum multi-species rigs, fish and ski combos, and family pontoons that are expected to do everything. It is big enough to feel serious, but still manageable in cost and fuel burn. The strength of this motor in the used world comes from 3 things. First, there are a lot of them because boat builders loved pairing 115 horsepower with their mid-size hulls. Second, they have built a reputation for being durable, low-drama workhorses when serviced correctly. Third, parts and service support are excellent, with many mechanics very familiar with them. That combination makes it very realistic to find earlier generation 115 4-stroke engines under $5,000, especially as trade-in and package takeoff units. When you are standing next to one, do everything you can to get a full picture of its health, a compression test, a check of the charging system output, and a run-up to proper operating temperature are basics. If an engine control module report is available, even better. You want to know how many hours it has, how those hours were spent, and whether it has thrown any serious alarms. Match that information with a careful visual inspection for corrosion and abuse, and you can separate the true bargains from the ticking time bombs. For boaters who need one engine to tow kids, fish big water, and haul a full crew without feeling underpowered, this is as close as it gets to a default choice in the used market under $5,000. Shop carefully, and a Mercury 115 4-stroke can make your old hull feel like a brand new package for a fraction of the cost. When you are shopping under $5,000, it is less about the brand and more about how the motor was treated. Maintenance, clean oil, and local service matter more than hours alone. Before you buy, slow down, ask for records, check compression if you can, and always try to run it before you commit. What are you running right now, and has it earned your trust? Drop it in the comments. Your experience could help someone else make the right call. If this helped, tap like and subscribe so you do not miss the next video, a full breakdown of how to inspect a used outboard before you buy.